we are going to talk about organizing our research into our speech. It is very important that you have a clearly organized speech, that all of your main points follow each other, that your details underneath your main points all flow logically. Otherwise, your audience is going to be lost. So I'm going to show you how I organized my speech. You can do the same thing. Other people will copy and paste from their note-taking grid document into their speech or their outline. But I'm more of a hands-on person, so I am actually going to take my note-taking grid and pair of scissors and cut out each individual paraphrase or quote and reaction that I have used, and then organizing them, because I'm more of a hands-on person. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut out each quote, paraphrase, and reaction that I have. I am going to keep all of the ones for each key question together. So I'm going to make sure everything that I cut out for key question number 3 are all kept together. I'll show you how that looks. Okay, broadly, here I have cut out all of my quotes, paraphrases, and all of the reactions from my own mind that I have written down, and I have organized them. To the left, the very far left, is a quote I am going to use for my introduction. Next is the information from my first key question, and then my second key question is the second column. My third key question is the third column, and then finally I have some research and reaction that I'm going to put into my conclusion up there on the. Here's the introduction. In the course of my research, I have found a quote that I thought would be effective for using as an attention getter. So remember that in your introduction you start with an attention getter lead, and then you move into your thesis. So I've written on a note here what my thesis will be. So that is how I've organized my introduction. You will notice that at the top of each column I put my key question that I have been asking on this topic, so that it makes sense to me what should all go beneath it. So I know that if this key question deals with immigrant labor and food prices, that all of my notes and quotes and paraphrases and reactions that deal with immigrant labor and food prices should go under that topic. You will see in the paraphrases and quotes that I make sure to have my in-text citation in there, so that when I give my speech I can cite that source. I can say, Hernandez of the Orlando Sentinel says that workers in Florida are protesting, marching, and generally advocating for a raise. Here's located my first main point. This is one of the key questions that I investigated, and so I cut up all of the different quotes so that I could put them in whatever order made the most sense. And so I could move things around and think, well, would this quote make more sense to go first, or is this other quote going to go first? And so it gives me an opportunity to look, to go back and forth and really weigh which quote or which paraphrase should go where, what makes the most sense. Up here in this post-it note here, you will see that I have written down tie into the slavery example in the introduction. So I have made a note to myself about how I am going to transition between the introduction and my first main point. This is important so that people can follow you as you read. Again, here is my second main point. You can see I have my main point and then all of my quotes and paraphrases as I go down. You will see there are post-it notes. These post-it notes are just reminders to myself of more information I want to add into my speech. A lot of times they are transitions. You can see in this one there's a lot of information, and I'll probably have to break it up into multiple paragraphs as I talk, or different points, and so I have included different transitions inside of that main point. To the right here is my third and final one. Up top you can see I have a transition that's going to lead into this information as well. Finally, here is my conclusion. I start the conclusion by restating my thesis as we've discussed, and then during the process of my research, I found a quote that I thought would use well for a conclusion. So that is what I'm going to do there. So if I back up, you can see that I have it organized from left to right exactly how my speech will read. From my introduction to my from my introduction to my first main point, to my second main point, to my third main point, and then to my conclusion. All of them have transitions between them, and they logically flow together.